Good morning, juniors, and welcome to our very special edition of our Wednesday morning meeting. We are taking some extended time today to talk to you all about the importance of academic integrity. I am here with some of your 11th grade teachers, and we're going to chat through what academic integrity is, why it's so important, and some next steps for you. So Ms. Bess, if you go to the next slide. So before we get started with the content of this morning meeting, I did want to make it very clear to you that your engagement in this presentation will be reflected in each of your classes as a formative grade. All of your junior level teachers agreed that academic integrity is so important that you guys are going to take a survey, and as soon as that survey is completed, it's going to show up as a formative grade in every single 11th grade class. So you make sure that you are participating, that you truly understand academic integrity, and that if you have any questions, you are asking your advisor as we go through this presentation. Awesome job. Next slide. So why are we talking about this? Why now in trimester 3? Well, over the course of the year, the 11th grade team and myself, we've noticed a trend when it comes to academic integrity violations. At the end of trimesters, over the course of the trimester, we catch academic integrity violations. We've had conversations with students. We have given out lots of consequences, but we felt that it was worth ensuring that all students, all of our juniors hear the same message to eliminate any uncertainty, because we found that in a lot of these conversations, there have been more questions and it's turned into a really informational conversation to ensure that students understand the difference between cheating and not cheating. Your teachers want to help you learn and grow, and we all care very much about the validity of the data that comes from your class assignments. And what I mean by that is we want to make sure that the data that we receive at the end of a mastery check or at the end of an assessment truly reflects what you know. And so if you know C-level work, if you failed an assessment, we want to know that because it is a reflection of your learning, and it tells your teachers exactly what they need to know in order to support you to grow in your academics. And when you cheat, your teachers do not have the data that reflects what you know, and so they're not able to help you where you're at. And then last but certainly not least, this is an incredibly important thing to make sure that we are emphasizing, your college counselors are required to report cheating to colleges as a part of your application. Juniors, you are getting ready in just a few short months to start applying to colleges, and there are some pretty heavy consequences and implications that come with cheating when it has to be reported to a college. We don't want that for you, and we want to make sure that we're giving you all of the information that you need to avoid having to do that on a college application. Next slide, Ms. Bess. So, what is an academic integrity violation? Academic integrity means that you are submitting work that originates only from you and from your brain. You are showing integrity in your academics when the work originates from you. When you violate academic integrity, that means that you have received outside support on an assessment, on an assignment, on an exam, and that is not acceptable. Another word for an academic integrity violation is cheating. Violations end in loss of credit, in parent meetings, and can even mean an automatic F in one of your classes that require you to go to summer school to repeat. There are lots of ways that academic integrity violations can manifest and show up depending on the content of the course that you are taking. And we're going to talk about what those different types of academic integrity violations look like so that we are all ultra clear on what this looks like going forward.
And we did want to start by acknowledging the fact that we know 11th grade is really tough, right? For many of you, this is your first year taking AP classes. There's also a lot of pressure since you are so close to being a senior. And so not only is it academically tough, but it could also be pretty emotionally tough. Then added the fact that we're in a global pandemic. Like, y'all, we understand this and we empathize with you. And not just from like talking to y'all one-on-one, but the data is there. So I wanted to cite a couple statistics real quick. Because we know, right? Like, we all know that this is a tough time. So right now, the majority of Gen Zers who are in school, 81% of them report being negatively impacted, right? 52% of you all are feeling less motivated to do work. 47% of you feel that like you haven't learned as much. And 45% of you report having a hard time concentrating. So we understand this, like this is a really tough time. Also though, wanted to note a correct way of citing these facts on here As you can see on the bottom, I've cited my sources from the American Psychological Association, right, the APA. So know that we're here for you all, we empathize, but this is still something that's very serious.
So one of the things we wanted to point out to you is we'd be doing you a disservice if we did not tell you what this looks like when you leave the comfort of our school building in the future if you are to continue with some of these patterns of behavior. So the first one is in college, and I know we've talked to a lot of you about this individually, but obviously in college the consequences can be extremely severe, right? Instead of a conversation, often there's no conversation. It's just an automatic zero or failing the course. And in some extreme cases, it's complete expulsion from the university, which stays on your permanent record. After that, it's pretty hard to get a job because no employer wants someone who's going to violate integrity. So that's one of the first ones. You can see this is happening. This is MIT's over here. This is their policy. And over here, you've got Harvard's policy and a cheating scandal in which they had to expel a large group for cheating. This is a real thing that actually happens. So then, and later on in life, you're going to get a job, right? In your career, cheating is a form of theft, right? You are stealing knowledge from someone else and claiming it to be your own. Theft is a ground for dismissal. You will get fired if you're caught cheating, and it really doesn't matter if it's just one sentence or if you're copying the whole essay. It's just like that in your real life. If you're stealing $1 or if you're stealing $1,000, your boss will not want to hire someone who has issues with integrity. So I wanted to show you a couple examples of that. Here are some of the consequences of violating integrity in the workplace. You could get suspended, fired, loss of professional credibility. That's one that comes down here in academia. You see that people who are really elevated in their fields, who are full professors, if they're caught plagiarizing work, they could be forced to resign. This man was working at Harvard Medical School in 1988, and then he plagiarized 4 papers, and no one else would hire him after that. It's kind of a black mark on your reputation. And last, of course, in life, there are major consequences for cheating. One that we've seen really recently is this scandal in which a bunch of parents cheated and lied for their kids in order to get them into top universities. The whole country was completely outraged because this is a violation of what we consider to be fair. If you work hard, you should get to go to the top universities, right? And these parents were using their money to cheat this system. These people spent there were some who were in jail for a couple months and some who are still in jail for this violation. We don't want you to be anywhere near on the paths of these types of people, and we know that you're better than this.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about another consequence of cheating, which is what I consider the natural consequence, which is just you are not learning as much as you could be. If you are cheating on assessments, your teachers can't identify what you know and what you don't know. Your teacher then might miss the chance to check in with you one-on-one and address those misconceptions or offer some individualized support. Or your teacher might make the assumption that the whole class has mastered this topic and move on quicker than they usually would. So while you may get away with cheating right now, you need to know that content later down the road, whether that's during the SAT in a couple weeks, whether that's next year during your senior year or in a couple of years when you're in college. Another point is just that the content builds on other content. So if you are not fully grasping something, it might be harder to move forward in that class. What we want as your teachers for all of you is just to learn at the highest possible level for you as an individual. So please always show us what you know. Next slide, Ms. Beth. So as I was reflecting on this, if you are relying on cheating during an assessment, it makes me think that you're not feeling fully prepared for that assessment. And so I wanted to point out some things that you could do every day in class to make sure that you are really learning the material on a day-to-day basis. Some of these we've talked a lot about, like when you're learning from home, set an alarm, take a shower, eat breakfast, find a space in your house where you can sit at a tabletop, if that's possible for you. Turn on your camera. Maybe set a participation goal for every class. Think about how many times it would make sense for you to participate so that you know you are fully engaging. Another thing I just wanted to name, I think sometimes we feel like it's not okay if we don't understand something. That is okay. Please ask us questions. Send your teacher messages privately or ask your teacher for additional help or to be signed up for tutoring or office hours. And the final note is just if you happen to miss a day of class, your teachers are recording their classes, so please take the time to reach out to them and then make up the work that you missed.
Okay, so what is considered cheating? There's a lot of different kinds of cheating. Copying from a peer. You could be doing a test or an assignment together, such as via Teams, phone, or text. If you're working with other students on an assessment, that is known as cheating. Plagiarism is also known as cheating as well. This could be directly copying or taking ideas from other people. Just like Ms. Bess had previously said, copying one sentence is the same thing as copying an entire essay. It is plagiarism. Also using the internet when you're not supposed to. Using unacceptable resources, and your teachers are letting you know what these unacceptable resources are. For example, Google Translate or PhotoMath. Also using notes when it's a closed note assessment. Again, your teacher is going to let you know when it is a closed or open note assessment. If it's a closed note assessment, if you are using your notes, that is cheating also. Next slide, please, Ms. Bess. Okay, so here are a couple of easy questions that you can ask yourself to identify if you are cheating. Question number 1, am I getting this idea or answer from the internet, a non-acceptable resource, or from someone else? If your answer to that question is yes, then unfortunately that is cheating. Question number 2, am I completing this assignment or exam completely by myself with only using acceptable resources as mentioned by my teacher? If your answer to that is yes, then you are not cheating. All right, friends. So the big message here is that when it comes to integrity, when in doubt, always do the right thing. If you have questions about whether or not something is acceptable, ask your teacher. If you are worried that maybe you didn't cite your sources correctly before you turn in an essay, use a plagiarism checker. If you would like to know what one of those is, all of your English and history teachers have access to plagiarism checkers that they would be happy to supply to you. And like Ms. Pearson said, it is okay to not know the answer. Just let your teachers know, because if you don't know the answer, chances are maybe some of your peers don't as well, and having the courage to speak up is really helpful information for your teachers to know as they're working through content in your class. No matter what, the work should always come only from your brain and no other peer or source. That is going to be the best way to ensure that your teachers have the information they need to support you where you're at so that you can grow in their class. Your teachers love you and are here for you, and we want to support you. Honesty will get you what you need and will help you more than cheating ever will. Because at the end of the day, friends, this is your life and your education. You're going to get out what you put in. Academic integrity violations will keep you from meeting your true potential and will mean major consequences now and in your future. We want to help you avoid this fate because we love you. If you have any questions about what academic integrity means, please reach out to your advisor, reach out to all of your teachers, come find me. I would love to have more of a conversation with you to ensure that we don't have to talk about an academic violation in one of your exams. So now that we've finished this presentation, please take some time to finish that survey that your advisor is going to drop into your chat, and look for that formative grade in each of your junior classes, friends. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and that you are working to show integrity. Bye, guys.